Jack, Lisa, Mark, and Emily were best friends. They loved adventures and decided to go camping in Blackwood Forest. Many people said the forest was haunted, but they did not believe in ghosts. They packed their bags and set off on a Friday evening. The sun was setting when they reached the forest. The trees were tall and thick, blocking most of the sunlight. The air was cold, and a strange silence filled the place. "This place looks creepy," Lisa said, hugging herself. "Don't be silly. It's just a forest," Mark laughed. They found a good spot and set up their tent. Jack started a fire while Emily prepared food. As they ate, the wind howled through the trees, making eerie sounds. "Did you hear that?" Lisa whispered. "It's just the wind," Jack said. But then they heard footsteps, slow and heavy, coming from the trees behind them. "Who's there?" Emily called out, but no one answered. Mark grabbed a flashlight and shone it towards the trees. Nothing was there, just darkness. "Probably an animal," he shrugged. "Let's sleep. We have a long day tomorrow." They got into the tent and zipped it shut. The fire outside slowly died, leaving only a faint glow. In the middle of the night, Lisa woke up. She felt like someone was watching her. The tent was shaking slightly. She held her breath and listened. Then she heard it again. Footsteps. This time they were circling their tent. "Jack, wake up," she whispered, shaking him. Jack opened his eyes. "What? Listen!" Lisa pointed to the side of the tent. The footsteps stopped. The air was heavy and cold. Jack slowly unzipped the tent and peeked outside. The forest was empty. "I don't see anything," he said. "Go back to sleep." Lisa tried, but she couldn't. Something was wrong. She felt it. The next morning, they found strange footprints around their tent. The prints were large and deep, like someone barefoot had been walking around them all night. "I told you," Lisa said. It could be a wild animal," Emily suggested, but she looked worried. They decided to explore the forest. As they walked, they saw old trees covered in moss and strange symbols carved into the bark. The deeper they went, the darker it got. Even though it was daytime, it felt like the sun couldn't reach them. "Guys, look at this!" Mark pointed at an old wooden cabin hidden between the trees. The cabin looked abandoned. The wood was rotten, and the door hung open. "We should check it out," Jack said. "No way," Lisa said. "This place gives me a bad feeling." "Come on, just a quick look," Mark insisted. They stepped inside. The air smelled of damp wood and something rotten. Broken furniture was scattered everywhere. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. Emily picked up an old book covered in dust. "Look at this." She opened it. The pages were filled with strange drawings, symbols, people with no faces, and what looked like rituals. "Let's go. Now," Lisa begged. Suddenly, they heard a loud bang from outside. It sounded like something hitting the cabin. What was that?" Emily gasped. Jack slowly walked to the door and peeked outside. The forest was still. Nothing moved. "I think we should go back to our tent," he said. They hurried back, but something felt different. The air was colder, and the forest was quieter. Too quiet. When they reached their campsite, their tent was torn apart. Their bags were ripped open, and their food was scattered on the ground. "What the hell?" Mark shouted. "An animal did this?" "No, look at this." Lisa pointed at the ground. More footprints. Big, deep footprints. They were not from an animal. "We need to leave," Emily said, her voice shaking. They grabbed what they could and started walking back to their car. But the path looked different. It was like the forest had changed. "I don't remember this way," Jack said. They walked faster. The trees looked the same in every direction. They were lost. Then they heard whispering. Low, hushed voices all around them. "Who's there?" Mark yelled no. The whispering grew louder, turning into eerie laughter. Suddenly, Emily screamed. "Something touched me." Jack shone the flashlight behind them, but there was nothing. "Run," Lisa shouted. They ran. The whispering followed them, the laughter echoing in the trees. The cold air wrapped around them like invisible hands pulling them back. Then they saw it. Their car. It was right ahead. They sprinted towards it. Jack fumbled for the keys and unlocked the doors. They jumped in, slammed the doors, and locked them. For a moment, everything was silent. They caught their breath, their hearts racing. Then Mark screamed. A pale face with hollow black eyes was staring at them through the window. Jack turned the key. The engine roared to life. He hit the gas, and the car sped down the road. No one spoke. They just wanted to get far away from that place. When they reached town, They stopped at a gas station. They were shaking, trying to understand what happened. Lisa looked at the car. There was a handprint on the glass, a large, pale handprint. They never went camping again.